Mic on.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FGM eCast. For your Thursday night, we're back here with ANZCAR, the Cup, and we're in the chase. We're 3 rounds in. This is our 3rd round here at Bristol. And I can tell you, last night we were here with the Xfinity cars, and it was one heck of a race. There were cautions, not galore, but certainly towards the end of the race there were a few cautions, and we saw one with 3 laps to go, which meant a green and white checkered flag. What a finish we had there. But tonight, hoping not for the same thing if we can avoid it. We've seen over the last 2 weeks 2 full podium lockouts, with DPR taking out one and the other one taken out by those Mitch Motorsport boys, who are fast closing and doing a ripping job with all 4 members of their team in the chase. We've got them back in here tonight as well. So far in practice, we've got Dave Douglas on the fastest lap, a 14.12 with Michael Skurlock not too far off behind him, and Ryan Jones, last night's race winner with Xfinity cars, in 3rd position. Neil Pearson knocking on the door as well. So what we've got here tonight, the structure's a little bit different to what you normally would see from us on a Thursday night. So we have qualifying. The server then changes over. We do only have 30 drivers who make it into the main race night. 33 in the server at the moment, so only 3 drivers will miss out. In the meantime, we will then have a crossover where Carl Wiki did an interview with one Danny G as we get through the 11 drivers who made the chase this season, just letting us know a little bit about themselves, what they get up to and who they are in and outside of iRacing, and then we will get into our feature race this evening. So plenty coming your way on FGM eCast, and of course after that long introduction of Silently just sitting there quietly waiting for his turn, Carl Wiki, I am joined by once again this evening. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Stuart. Good evening, everybody. Yes, we are back here at Bristol, the great Coliseum that it is, for another round of the chase. The Cup cars are out here tonight, a completely different beast to the Xfinity cars, of course. Over 100 more horsepower in these things, so that means they are easier to break loose at the back, a bit more of a beast to handle around this track. Obviously, aero is not going to be that effective around here. It doesn't do much, so it is all down to that mechanical grip and grunt horsepower. So it's going to be an exciting one for sure, and it might be a little bit tricky on the drivers. They're going to have to be careful not to lose the rear and cause a caution.
Yeah, and we did see last night that the Xfinity cars were able to handle a little bit of damage without wrecking a race, and equally we saw that if you go a lap down, it's not necessarily the end of your night, of course, with Hamish Gallagher getting back up and leading a substantial portion of the race, having been a lap down in that race.
Yeah, almost managing to come back and take the victory there for Hamish Gallagher. So it's not the end of your night if you do go a lap down. You just have to be patient and also just keep out of trouble. That's the important thing, is keeping out of trouble here. Hard to do on a track that is only 0.8 kilometers long, so it's not even a kilometer in length, this place. It is tiny, and when you've got 30 cars out there, it's very easy to have incidents. Traffic management is going to be a key feature of tonight's race.
Yeah, as always, but we saw last night as well, the drivers said that they didn't mind getting into the traffic a little bit. It made it a bit more challenging for them, so we'll see if that is their tune this evening. I imagine that the guys at the pointy end of the chase are just looking for a relatively smooth run, but they're not going to get that here tonight. You can tell that from the start. Trev Micklemore saying in the chat beforehand that he expects it to be a little bit of a caution fest this evening. We were lucky not to see too much of that last night, but of course with that extra power and the ultra competitive nature of the drivers in this series, I reckon that he might be onto something.
Absolutely. Look, drivers are going to be earning their paychecks tonight for sure. And as you said in the build-up there, will we see another team lockout tonight? Will anybody else manage to do it? Last time out, we saw a team lockout at the front. It was, of course, Jason Martin taking the victory, pole position, and fastest lap, with most laps led as well at Richmond. An absolute masterclass we saw from him.
He dominated the race. Absolutely never looked like losing that one. And, led home a Mitch Motorsport 1, 2, 3. So Neil Pearson, the other race winner so far in the chase in the DPR lockout that he led. So let's see how we go. Of course, Hobbo, his teammate, sorry, my apologies. I've completely put my foot in it tonight. Andrew Dyson, getting the beards confused. Andrew Dyson, of course, finishing on the podium last night in the Xfinity as well. Self-professed, it was all about learning for him last night, and he finished that one off, but it was quite a race. But finished that one off in P3. So he got a good run here last night. Edward Foster the same. He was up the front for a majority of the night, along with Joshua Carroll Walden as well. Their teammate, of course, not in the chase, but still in there to help them get around. Daniel Heddersheed led that race for a period as well. So there's plenty of drivers in here who've been up the front. We didn't see Curly, the Welsh Wizard out there last night, but he's got some good pace. Dave Douglas was on good pace last night. So it really is an open field here tonight for who's going to take this one out.
It's going to be close for sure. A few more drivers out tonight, a few different faces, of course, and as you said, a few drivers that are trying to lock themselves in to Daytona next year. Of course, that's the big one. So that's one of the big things for the drivers next year. If you don't finish in the championship, the chase, you manage to get in the top 20 in the regular season championship, you do lock yourself in for Daytona next year. So a few drivers are considering about that one. Watch out for Heddersheed. He's very fast on this track. We saw that with a very fast lap last night, managing to snag him pole position. Watch out for Hobbo as well. You mentioned him before, Brendan Hobson. Always quick out there. Took a P5 last week out as well. Very, very competitive since he stepped up to the Cup Series. Very different track here at Bristol. This place is going to be a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of a different option for, well, it's a little bit of a different opportunity for him, as well as Jaden Russell, his teammates. So those guys very, very quick in those cars, but they've not always been fully consistent, and they're still learning on the oval side of things. They're still getting used to it, but they are fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be one good race tonight. We've got qualifying starting in just on 40 seconds. Of course, qualifying is not going to last that long because it's about 5 minutes in duration allowed, but with a 15-second or sub 15-second lap here, it's going to fly by. And then we will have that interview for you in the break in between, and then get into the main race. So after qualifying, don't stray too far, because there's some very interesting listening coming up about our man Danny G.
Very much so. Pleasant conversation last night, getting that one done. So always enjoyable to get those little bits done, and hopefully everybody's enjoying the little bit of difference for this season with some interviews with our chase contenders. Just getting to know them a little bit better, getting a little bit of personality to them, because these guys, it's one of the things we forget when we're watching sim racing, is you're sort of looking at the cars and you forget that there's people behind the wheels still.
Was there much talk of mead?
I had to cut out the 15 minutes of mead talk and drinking horns as well. We may have spent 15 minutes talking about drinking horns and mead before I started recording properly. So, yes.
Would have been quite happy to have a conversation about drinking horns. Anyway, look, we got Hobbo on screen here tonight. He's just pulled in. He's going to make me look absolutely ridiculous. So we're going to jump off Hobbo, unless he's going to come straight back out again. He is indeed. So we're going to jump on board with Hobbo tonight and get him to take us for a lap around this track. We'll just let him get through this part, which will take all bar a matter of moments, and we'll jump on board the roof of the 88 of Brenton Hobson for a tour of the track.
Yeah, fast lap here, coming into first corner, lifting off the accelerator. You do want to just tap the brake a tiny bit here. Takes a very low line there, gets on the accelerator quickly. Turns 3 and 4 a bit wider than turns 1 and 2. It's a little bit of a wider banking section, so it's a little bit wider than the first couple of corners. Not by much though. Gets across the line. Good lap from Hobbo up to P4 at the moment. This second lap might be a little bit quicker. We usually sometimes see that here. The second lap is a little bit quicker because the tyres are up to temperature. He is taking a very tight line though. Often you'll see the drivers taking a bit of a higher line, and that tends to work out a little bit quicker sometimes. So that gets him up to P5 at the moment. So he'll be hoping that's enough. Looks like a relatively good lap with a 14.688. One of the things that happened to Hobson on the exit there, and the reason he had to actually do another lap and basically pull in, is because he exited the pits wrong. It's something we talked about last night on the pit exit. If you look down on the inside, there is a blue line. You have to go through that blue line. So there's 2 pit lanes here. Because it is such a short track, you have to exit through that blue line, not yellow line, and a few drivers get caught out by that quickly.
Now, I'm interested here, Carl. I've just noticed that Andrew Dyson and Neil Pearson yet to set a lap. Danny G, Josh Micklemore yet to set a lap. And we did see some strategy last night from a couple of drivers starting towards the rear of the field. Neil Pearson just jumps out on track, so that answers that question. And that worked out quite well for them, particularly with the cautions and the ability to potentially manage your race to a single or a one-stop strategy.
Yeah, look, you can take that option if you are locked in with the chase. A few drivers might take that option who are locked in. Of course, you do need to be locked into the Cup Series. You're not automatically got positions, so if you're not locked in, you have to qualify for those positions. So 20 cars get locked in, and then 10 cars have to fight their way into qualifying. So it does make it a little bit more difficult out there sometimes. Of course, the chase drivers are all locked in, so that helps them out, so they can just sort of sit there, and if they want to start from the back of the grid, they can. It looks like maybe Danny G, Daiso, Skurlock and Jason Martin may take up home. Approach note, Skurlock's just coming out now. Martin is out on track at the moment. Skurlock just taking a car out now. As whereabouts did we see Jason Martin pull up? So Skurlock's actually stopping out on track. So
just maybe, what's he doing there?
Oh, Martin's hit the wall on his second fast lap, and that's ruined it for him. He's going to be starting mid-pack. That is a disaster for Jason Martin. He's actually starting right behind Neil Pearson down there in 13th and 14th. Unlucky for those two, because mid-pack here can be a little bit scary.
The Irish Wizard just said he's all got loose there on the exit of the corner. And so that's going to wreck this lap for him. He's going to have one more. Danny G has jumped out, so it looks like Andrew Dyson, the only one potentially not running a lap. As Danny G jumps into 23rd. He's on his second flying lap now, as is Michael Skurlock. He is halfway through 15.33 last time around with that small mistake. Where does he get to? Just P21. So that's not as good as he'd probably be looking for. Barry Neal's just heading out on track now. He'll be the last one to set a flying lap.
I think the drivers were hoping for a little bit of a cooler climate. They were waiting for the track to cool down a little bit, sort of almost a qualifying cloud, and it's actually not panned out for them. So that's interesting to see, because sometimes that qualifying cloud can work it out. Interestingly, up the front, we've got identical times once again for the first two cars. Ryan Jones and JCW, Joshua Carroll-Walden, both setting 14.662s. On my right timing screen, I've got Ryan Jones as the leader for qualifying. On my left-hand screen, I've got Joshua Carroll-Walden. So even my software is confused by that one. It's so close.
And can I make it a little bit more confusing in terms of my timing screen shows that they've all done a 14.66. The Carroll Walden, Jones and Philip Worley all setting exactly the same qualifying time, and then Hobson, Foster and Micklemore the same.
Philip Worley was a 14.663. So he was just slower by the hair of a fly. Heddersheed was a 14.683. Brendan Hobson 14.688 and Foster 692 with Micklemore 694. So close between all of those drivers. So there is nothing between any of them really.
So we'll just bring that up on the screen now just to show you. So this is the final result. It's not adjusted, of course, for anyone who might fall out, but of course you'd expect all of these drivers will make it in. So the top 20 as it sits out of qualifying is Carroll, Walden, Jones and Worley on a dead heat, all bar a fly's wing between them. Then Daniel Heddersheed and Hobbo with a similar scenario, same with Foster and Micklemore, Urquio and Hunter. Phelps and Gallagher. So all of those drivers in pairs just setting basically identical times, which is amazing. Followed by Russell and Pearson with Martin, Traher, Curtis, Williams, Clark, Douglas and Griffiths, our top 20 drivers that will transfer across to the main game when we get there in a few minutes' time. So what we're going to do now, we're going to head over and have a look at an interview done by Carl last night with the one, the only Danny G, otherwise known as Daniel, and I can't say it, so I won't, but Danny G, as he's lovingly known, in the number 24 Mitch Motorsport entry. So we're going to have a quick listen to this. It goes for about 6.5 minutes, and then we will be back with the chase warm-up ahead of getting this one underway for you.
Good
evening, everybody, and welcome back to the ANZCAR Cup Chase. We are joined tonight by chase contender Daniel Grzeskovic. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to the booth, Danny.
Hey, thank you.
Sorry about butchering your name there. Tried again, but yes, I am terrible at pronunciation on that one. Congratulations on getting into the chase, and congratulations to Mitch Motorsport on getting all 4 cars in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a pretty cool achievement. I guess 4 out of 10 or 11 drivers is actually, pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously, 11 drivers this year makes it a little bit uneven. We had the same thing happen last year, I think, where we had a tie for P10 as well. So it seems strange to have it happen 2 years in a run, but it just shows how close the series is at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very close series. I'm not sure how it's going to go down. But yeah, it's going to be close to the end, I think.
Yeah, obviously, what are your expectations from this season in the chase for yourself? What are you hoping to achieve? Are you hoping to get the outright victory, or are you looking to sort of keep in more of a mid sort of area?
I'm hoping I'd get the victory. More realistically, I think top 5 would be good. I think top 5 is probably a realistic achievement, and anything up from there is just even better.
Well, obviously, everybody in the chase wants to win it. That's the big thing. But it's the harder thing to win it, of course, with the amount of competition in there. And the competition has been fierce this year.
Yeah, it has. It's much different from last year. I think last year I didn't come a top 10 or top 5 every race. It was disappointing, and now it's sort of battling out there for top 10s, top 15s. I haven't had a very consistent year at all, and it's very difficult.
No, it might not be the most consistent year, but you have had some good, strong finishes, and that's what got you through to the chase, and just solid driving as well. And that's something you seem to be really good at, just keeping your nose clean.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way I drive. I do race clean. I don't go out there to sort of like knock anybody around. And yeah, that's most of the mistakes I've made have actually been my mistakes this year. I mean, I've been in a lot of wrecks that weren't my fault, but made a lot of pit mistakes, and that was pretty much my bread and butter last year, was getting on off pit road. I've made a lot of mistakes in that this year, got penalties. That's cost me a lot of good results.
The pit line virus, obviously you caught that from your teammate Jason Martin. He must have infected you with that one.
Yeah, I think so.
So, Danny, how did you get into motorsport?
It's a weird one, because none of my parents were really into it. Like, my dad took me to the dirt speedway in Canberra when it was open when I was a kid, and he took me to the drag races, but he was never really into motorsport, so I think he just went there for a bit of a good time. So I'd say that probably had a little bit of influence on me, but also the Matchbox cars. I used to collect them as a kid, and it was always about the racing cars, and I always found the stock cars, excuse me, were like the best looking ones. I thought, the most colourful, the big numbers, all the sponsors and the stickers on it, that must be the real deal for a race car, and that's sort of how I grew up liking NASCAR, I suppose.
Obviously, the Jeff Gordon ones you used to throw away, I take it?
I don't know if I don't think I had any Jeff Gordon Matchbox cars. I had Days of Thunder ones. It took me a while before I got Jeff Gordon stuff when I started getting into the diecast models.
Yeah, speaking of Jeff Gordon, I hear you're a bit of a fan.
Yes, a big fan. When did I be a fan? I remember the first time I watched the race, it was like at a big convention centre. And back then the big screen TV was like 9 small TVs stuck on top of each other. And there was a NASCAR race on. I'm thinking it was either Texas, Atlanta or Charlotte at the time, one of those sort of shaped tracks. And I just sat down and parked myself in front of it. Well, my stepdad at the time just went off in the convention centre, did what he had to do, and I just sat there and watched the race. I was just hypnotised by it. And yeah, I just saw that 24, the rainbow car. I thought, that was pretty cool looking car. Just caught my eye, and I've just been a fan ever since.
History was made. And what got you into sim racing?
I'd been playing like pretty much all my life on PlayStation and console, Formula 1 games. And then when my parents finally bought me a computer, I got into NASCAR Racing 3, and that just sort of progressed from there. And then I played NASCAR Racing 2003 from 2003 to about 2016, when I thought, let's just give iRacing a try. I was over in the States in 2015, and I played it at the NASCAR Hall of Fame. I think I did a few laps around Martinsville, and I thought, that's pretty cool. I'll give that a go when I get home, which is what I did, and that's how I got here.
And then the addiction had happened, and the wallet must have opened up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was addicted, just against the AI there for years. I'd do the full distance races. But yeah, as soon as I joined iRacing, it did cost a lot of money. I sort of messed around a little bit in the ARCA series, or K&N at the time, so the free tracks. Then I think when I made C-Class license and got trucks, I started having to buy a lot more tracks, and then cars, and then more tracks, and it still doesn't end. Actually, I'm still buying stuff every couple of months.
What sort of gear do you run?
Fanatec. I've just got the Club Sport wheel and the V3 pedals, but I'm not in a sim or anything. I'm just on a desk with a big TV, a 42-inch TV in front of me, and two 17-inch side monitors that are hopeless, but they just give it a little bit of peripheral vision.
Oh, look, any peripheral vision is better than nothing. It's good to hear another desk racer. You know, that's what we love about this sport, is the fact that you can be racing on a desk or in a sim rig, and you can be competitive as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things about the side mirrors is that truck race the other day that I lost. When I was racing at the time, I thought me and Dyson were going to collect each other, so I sort of pinched myself down low. But going back on the replay, we had heaps of room, and it just doesn't look like that in these side monitors. I've got the objects appear a lot closer.
Yes, objects appear closer in the mirror than they actually are. You should get those stickers put onto the side monitors, maybe.
Yeah, I should.
No, congratulations on getting into the chase. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and I wish you best of luck in the rest of the series. Before I let you go, though, one quick question: what's your upcoming track that you're looking forward to that you think you're going to go by that?
Texas, I'd say. I think I won that race last year. I don't think we've raced there this year, so yeah, that should be interesting.
Well, wish you luck for Texas, of course. Hopefully we haven't put the curse of a commentator on you for that one, but good luck for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for taking out a little bit of time for tonight to get this one done, and good luck for tonight's race.
Cool, thank you.
screen. Hello everyone, we are back, and you can see the background on my lovely computer here in Aston Martin. Have a look at that beast of a machine. But unfortunately, the reason we're here is because there has been a last-minute iRacing scheduled maintenance put up, which will coincide with the conclusion of this race. And what that means is that at 10 o'clock Australian time, which is 7 a.m. in the fairyland that iRacing exists in, they are going to close down the servers because there was an error with the update they ran overnight. And that unfortunately means we can't schedule the race for tonight. So what it does mean is the qualifying results from this week will stand, and we will be back at 7:45 next Thursday night to run this race. So the results of Bristol will stand, and we will run the Bristol round of the Cup next week. It does take away the holiday week that we would traditionally have, which coincides with the actual calendar that NASCAR run. But unfortunately tonight it means that our stream tonight, Carl, is a very, very short indeed.
Yeah, well, it gives us a bit of a chance to actually have a bit of a relax for once. Maybe get up to something else instead, unfortunately. But yeah, big shame. We're sorry about that. Unfortunately, technical difficulties do happen. A little bit like it's raining. Imagine the rain has come early to iRacing and unfortunately hit Bristol tonight, so we can't get the race over and done with.
What we might do, Carl, if you've got 10 or 15 minutes, I noticed there's a couple of people who jumped into the chat. Maybe we can just have a little impromptu podcast style affair where we can actually run people through. We just mentioned there the update overnight. Maybe we can just have a little bit of a quick chat about what that means for those people who are watching who aren't of the iRacing world.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just let the boys know that they'll be dragged up to the booth quickly. I'll let you do a little quick talk there.
Where are we? All release notes since the beginning of time. That's probably not the one that we want to... Here we go. It was right above it. I am just blind as a bat, but hang on a minute. We'll get back to where we were there. Staff announcements. So iRacing, we've had, the reason I want to do this as well, we've had a ton of updates come through this week. And yeah, Trev, it is a bugger, mate, but we will be back as always. Thank you for tuning in. There's been a huge amount of updates. You can see them on the screen here, just scrolling through them relatively quickly. So we'll go through this and tell you. So basically what's happened is they put out a huge update. It's a 7 or 8 gig update overnight that came out with a whole heap of new content, and you can see here the new content releases a couple of circuit racing cars, so the Ferrari 488 GT3 Evo 2020 version.
Up on screen, Stuart. Sorry.
Oh, isn't it?
Oh,
yes. No, it isn't. That's it. Well, let me fix that problem, because
we've got a beautiful image of a Vulcan, but nothing else there.
It's because it was on the wrong screen. So we've got some new content here. The Ferrari 488, as I mentioned, we've got the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup. So that's replacing the Porsche, or the Porker, as they love to call it. So that upgrades it to the new spec Porsche Cup car. Hickory Motor Speedway joining, which we're all very excited about. We think that may make an appearance on either the Xfinity or the Truck Series next season. Hungaroring, which of course is, I think that's got a new name now, hasn't it, Carl? Hungaro Circuit.
I thought it was still Hungaroring.
It is the Hungaroring, but hasn't it been renamed after one particular now soon to be ex Formula One driver?
Oh, I may have been, but I may have missed that memo. So you may have got me beat on this one.
That's fine. We'll leave that one as it be. Hosted AI Racing, which is a great update. So basically, we can now run races and have the race supplemented by the actual iRacing AI cars. But that is a really good update. I just did some running on that beforehand at Bathurst in the V8 Supercar, and it means you can run with 3 or 4 of your mates, but have a field of AI cars running with you, and you can set the strength of the drivers in those cars. So in a session with Jimmy Broadbent and the like, in terms of the names that they made up for it, but that's a really, really good addition to iRacing, something that other racing platforms already offered. The new healing no damage mode is as it sounds, so you can basically you can run no damage, still have an accident, still have the cars get damaged, and the cars progressively heal themselves as you drive around the track. So good if you want that realism without the realism, I guess. Art overhauls. Go on.
One of the other big things I was going to mention was the AI. The fact you can now race AI while you're racing with other people. So there's the option to race with people with some AI as well.
Yeah, so I'm wondering how they're going to use that, because of course there's so many things that you can race on iRacing now where you might only get 3 cars. So I'm thinking more things like the LMP2 and the formula stuff, where you might want to do a race but there's only 4 people logged into the server on the iRacing servers. So I'm hoping that they're going to just flick that on where it automatically will supplement the iRacing official races with AI. Maybe it may not make them official then. You may not score points, or you get a lot less points for your license, but it will certainly mean that there'll be more grids filled out for people to get practice with.
Absolutely, and I might just grab up quickly the pole sitter for the upcoming race at Bristol next week, just to see how he's feeling. Mr. JCW. Joshua Farrell-Walton, welcome to the booth quickly. Congratulations on that pole position.
Yeah, thanks, Carl.
Very close one between you and Ryan Jones.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Like I all the standings page and everything turned off on my quality runs as I normally do. So yeah, I was just like, yeah, okay, I'll just try and take it deeper to the corners and just see, how it goes. And yeah, man. Well, I in theory it'd be close, but not that close. Like that's nothing in it.
Oh, absolutely nothing between you two. Ryan Jones again setting an identical time. That's the second time it's happened in the last week or so, I think. So that's pretty funny there. Congratulations on the poll, but how much stress does that put you on now that you've got a week to wait?
Man, all I can do really is, just kind of forget about where I'm starting from and just, just practice my race runs and, come back next week and just go for it.
Hope for the best. Look, hopefully pole position works out for you next week. Thank you so much for jumping up here quickly. And look, thanks for putting on a good qualifying show. At least we got something out tonight.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Carl.
See you, JCW.
See you, mate.
Bye.
Yeah, of course, it's an unusual thing for them to have to wait the week. It's not something that they normally see.
A little bit different for those guys as well. So yeah, so as you said, a lot of updates, of course. It's always good, but unfortunately, it does mean that tonight's race has been a little bit changed.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see here, there's tons and tons of stuff. So tyre model updates, which will impact on a couple of the series that we're running. Obviously, the Cup cars getting the update there, as well as the Xfinity cars and the trucks. So they will run, and a new shock absorber as well, coming into or being retrofitted into those cars. I couldn't quite see that here as I was looking through this while we were having a chat with JCW, but that was to come into this model as well. So plenty of changes, but as a consequence of all those changes, there was an error in the upload overnight, so they've had to bring everything down again tonight at 10 o'clock and make another update to allow for everyone to successfully access the content. So it does mean that our race tonight is affected, and that prematurely brings our Thursday evening to a close.
Yeah, very much so. We wish you all a good night. We hopefully will see you back next week. Of course, we'll be back with the truck action starting out on Monday. Of course, the Xfinity will be on Wednesday in the Thunder, and then we will have Thursday night for the chase.
And of course, Tuesday night, the grand finale of season 4 of the Ozpro Sim Series. We've got our final endurance race of the season, and that's coming to you from Hockenheim. We've got a 70-minute feature race there with both of those championships, the Pro and the Amateur Championship, well and truly up for grabs. So until then, we will see you on Monday evening for the trucks. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves, and we look forward to catching up with you again then.